the political implications of today's Reserve Bank decision were huge for the Albanese government. But any hope of further cuts later this year remain just that, hopeful. This is unquestionably a big moment. The Governor said today the decision to cut the cash rate was not a lay-down misère. How much were you sweating the decision? You'd accept, however, that this is an intensely political moment at the same time. Does this cut set you up for a swift campaign focused on your management of inflation, the root cause of the cost of living crisis? Have you spoken to the Prime Minister since the announcement? Now, the Governor warned against relying on any predictions for a series of cuts. She described the market expectations that have suggested that as unrealistic. Pretty clear term from her.
What I would say is that the market is expecting quite a few more interest rate cuts till the middle of next year, about 3 more on top of this.
If this is the only cut in the near or foreseeable future, does that make a strong argument for an election before the next RBA meeting in April? Now, you're starting you're just starting the answer to the question an awfully long way from where the question was, so maybe we could come back to that. Does this strengthen the case for an election before the next RBA meeting, because it's unlikely we'll get a series of cuts? Does this single measure on inflation, do you think, do enough in the voters' minds to offset the collapse in their living standards? Can we reasonably assume that you won't now be delivering a budget before the election? The Governor today talked about the need for productivity in Australia to lift. McKinsey's described Australia's productivity recently as being so bad it's a national emergency and it's not a unique view. How much responsibility does the Albanese government bear for its failure to power productivity growth? You've been in politics for most of your adult life, and so have many of your fellow Labor ministers. You all had high hopes when you won government. How will you justify it to yourselves if you lose after one term? If only that were the case. Treasurer, thank you very much indeed for joining us.